Breakdowns are a really serious disturbance of your productive flow. In some industries, they cost a lot of money, and in all industries, they just stop your whole production flow. So you would like to prevent those and do your maintenance before your machine breaks down. And that's what planned maintenance is all about. But there's more, so let's go into the topic of plant maintenance and the PM pillar. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And in this video, we will be talking about the plant maintenance pillar, or PM for short. Now, the main premise of this pillar is that they really become the expert group that knows how the machinery in your factory works and when it will break down, and of course, where possible, prevent these breakdowns. Now, the core philosophy is all in the name itself. You plan when to do which maintenance in order to have the best productivity for your lines. And this has to be, of course, cost effective. And what is cost effective is determined by your industry and even by specific factories and lines within the factory. If we look at Formula One racing, they use golden maintenance. They spend loads of money on maintaining the cars and doing these super fast pit stops. That's because when they lose a second in the race, that is a very expensive second. That will cost them millions. So, in their industry, it pays to put lots of money into getting those last seconds out. Now, in most industries, we cannot spend this amount on maintenance because a minute of downtime simply doesn't cost the same as in Formula One racing. So you see that you always check how much is the benefit of not breaking down versus how much will it cost to guarantee a non-breakdown. And for some lines, you will even say, let it break down because it is more expensive to preventively maintain than it is to do the maintenance after you see the breakdown. But when you want to have a really good competitive edge in your market, you need to understand the line so that you can make this preventive maintenance cheaper. So you can make it condition-based, time-based, and plan ahead when you do your maintenance in order to minimize the total cost. And that is the game plant maintenance is playing. And if you can play it well, you will have happy operators and a nice cost advantage over competitors in the market. That being said, let's dive into which tools the plant maintenance pillar uses to achieve these targets. Like any pillar, they have a set of KPIs that they are responsible for. And in the case of plant maintenance, this is breakdowns, short stops, and speed losses, so the performance of your line, spare part inventory levels, your mechanics hands-on tool time, the number of mechanics you have. So basically this is all about the maintenance costs and how well can our maintenance organization handle their work orders, so the technical tickets that you have open. So let's go over them quickly. A breakdown is when a line stops functioning during normal productive hours and the operator of the line cannot simply restart it. They may need spare parts or outside assistance, and as a general rule, many companies put a sort of a time limit on there. For instance, a stop that's over 2 or 10 minutes long, depending on your industry. Then a short stop, which is also a stop during productive hours, but the operator can restart the line by themselves without needing to put any spare parts into the line, and they're also usually relatively short, less than 2 minutes, or in some industries, less than 10. And then we have speed losses, which is when you reduce the speed of the line on purpose as a setting, and what you will often see is that this is done because otherwise you will get short stops or breakdowns. And that is why it is also one of plant maintenance KPIs. Speed losses, breakdowns, and short stops together form how well a piece of machinery is performing. The approach to solving these 3 machine time losses is a bit different. For breakdowns, they don't occur that often. So you really have to focus on when they occur. Then you analyze, and you can take some information from historical data. When we focus on short stops, you will be almost sure that when you observe the line for a couple of hours, you will have seen the same short stop coming back, and also your operators will probably be very aware of where the short stops occur and how to solve it in practice. So these are not the root causes, but at least they can show you how they solve it, and this will give you very good clues as to where in the line you have to look for the root causes. And for speed losses, there is a bit of a funny way of solving them, which is just increase the speed of the line and then check where it goes wrong. So under controlled circumstances, you increase the speed, either directly to the norm or step by step, and then you have your team standing by to see where it goes wrong. So this is the operational focus of the plant maintenance pillar, where they really add to the performance of the rest of the factory. Another very important part of PM is its focus on the maintenance organization itself. You really want your maintenance apparatus to be able to handle all the work orders it receives, not to do all the work orders it receives, because some of them are simply not good and do not deserve a priority. But this also has to be handled. This is what we call gatekeeping. You check your incoming work orders, then you give feedback to the people who put up these orders, and all the orders that you accept, you put into your maintenance pipeline, where you sort them for priority, plan them out, and make sure that you can perform them from the first time. And also for this, you really need to know your equipment, because if you know in advance which equipment and spare parts you need to solve most of the problems, and also to do inspections and have already the stuff with you that you can expect to need replacement, you really speed up your maintenance process. But it also requires good organization and communication also outside the maintenance department. You can imagine that many inspections and small maintenance tasks require the line to be stopped or in cleaning, or it has to be producing at that moment. So what the line is doing is important for which work orders you have. And if your mechanic shows up at the line expecting it to be cleaning and then get 1 or 2 hours of time for his maintenance, but when they get there, the operators have already started up the line again and it's in full production, you will have wasted valuable time and not have had the opportunity to do this needed maintenance. So this is all about knowing which information you want from the rest of the organization, how to do your inspections, how to plan your inspections and maintenance tasks, and bring it together into communication again back with the rest of the organization, and then of course act on your planning. And this is why the PM pillar also owns the maintenance PCS. So this is the performance control system specifically for your maintenance department. It does tie in to the general performance control system, which is run by the FI pillar, but it really focuses on how is my maintenance department and the whole maintenance organization around it operating. And then when your basic maintenance is set up in a good way, so you have your KPIs, your data, you have a nice maintenance PCS, and you have mastered eliminating breakdowns, short stops, and speed losses, then you are ready for the next level in plant maintenance, which is time and condition-based maintenance. And this is really a tool to not react to breakdowns happening in your equipment, but to spot things early on. So you can see the decline of your machine before it gives a problem for production and replace specific spare parts before their time runs out. Now, if you do this based on the known time between failures, so you really know the lifetime of your spare parts, parts of the machine, and you replace them just before they break, then we call it time-based maintenance. And if you do some inspections in which you can already see the decline of parts of the machine and can check before the decline is far enough that you have to replace it, we talk about condition-based maintenance. And another form of condition-based maintenance is when it already does have a small effect on the process, but it's not critical to the process yet, but you can see the small changes. So for instance, the pressure over a number of valves, you can see it dropping slightly, doesn't affect the product yet, but you can already pick up from this that you will need to replace the valve rings. Then we're also talking about condition-based maintenance, but here you do not check the condition of the part itself, but its effect on the process. Now you can imagine that this requires a lot of knowledge and expertise of your lines. And that is really what the plant maintenance pillar is all about. You need a group of experts who become intimately familiar with the machinery you have in your plant. So who are usual members for the PM pillar? Well, as all pillars, we would like the chairman to be a member of the factory's management team. And in PM's case, this is usually the maintenance manager or chief engineer. Then we have one or more maintenance engineers or real experts on how we do our maintenance at the plant. A team leader or planner of your mechanics, because they are really in the heart of your maintenance PCS by planning and organizing your mechanics. And depending on the needs in your factory, you might also want to include the spare part warehouse keeper and probably also team leaders or specialists from the production or operational department. So their role is to get you the information from the operation, both when and how the breakdowns occurred, but also what is needed for production. So how can you optimally serve your operators and your production department? And they will also be a nice communication channel to the operators. Because in the end, as a maintenance organization, you serve the operation to make them perform better. So that is plant maintenance as a pillar on their own, but of course they also have great links to the other pillars of your continuous improvement system. We have focused improvement, whose main KPIs are machine and personnel productivity. They will of course tell you where you need to focus your breakdown reductions and where we need a more stable line. So together with FI, you make your ABC ranking, which is one of the plant maintenance tools where you specify which machines have A priority, B or C, and this directly relates to how much maintenance expenditure and effort these lines will receive. There are also some links with the quality management pillar, with safety, but another very big one is with the autonomous management pillar. You see, AM also has as their KPIs breakdowns, short stops and speed of the line, but they approach it from a totally different point of view. And what AM is also trying to do is make sure that the operators can autonomously do their inspections. So a transfer of knowledge from mechanics and the technical department to the operation. Now this of course really goes hand in hand with plant maintenance, where plant maintenance focuses hard on specific losses and making sure that the maintenance organization is running at its best. The autonomous management pillar slowly builds the capabilities and strength of your operations and make sure that step by step operators can take ownership of their line. So you could say that autonomous management really builds up the foundation of knowledge and skills within the operations itself, so a bottom-up approach. And plant maintenance takes more of a top-down approach to really hunt for those losses and make sure that your machines run as smoothly as they can. But combining those two makes for a really strong organization that builds on each other. So you see that this house of continuous improvement and performance excellence is really built up by all pillars together. And plant maintenance has a critical role within this for your machine performance, but also for the reliability of your production as a whole. So that's our overview of the plant maintenance pillar. If you have a question about any of the plant maintenance topics, please drop me a comment. I would love to help you further. And if you like this video, don't forget to put a like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. For now, I wish you the best in starting up or improving your plant maintenance pillar, and of course, improving the performance of the lines in your factory. And as always, enjoy the journey.